sir. We're good.
Are we good?
We're good.
Good, good morning, everybody. Ms. Prusek.
Morning.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
You know why we're here today. I'm going to give you a little back history on it other than what I tried to explain to you last week. The problem is not just for Parker, but for all law enforcement agencies. It is very difficult to find a vehicle. And I certainly don't want a golf cart or electric car or a one-cylinder car. So I've got Chief Hutto, searching everywhere for a police car or a police truck or a police vehicle. But it's got to be white, preferably, because then it'll match the rest of the fleet. So let me tell you what I know, and I'll tell you what I'm asking for. We knew as of Friday that $60,000 would buy a car. 60,000. We know that. We don't know if it'll be 59.3 or what it'll be, but we know 60,000 will cover it. We know that the insurance company is going to give us right at $17,000 for the one we lost last week. We know that in the auction, which was about 2 months ago, the vehicles that were sold from the police department were $16,000 is what we made in auction. That's a total of $33,000. Now, where do we get the rest of the money? It comes from a thing called police services, and it is part of the pooled cash. So we get that revenue in two streams. We get the normal fines that come to Miss Pam for traffic tickets and parking tickets and so on and so forth. And then police services is a different form of revenue that comes to us from, like if they stop somebody, I'm giving you just a general example. If they stop somebody and the guy's got drugs in the car and they seize the car and they sell the car, or he's got a large amount of stolen money or whatever individual's got. That's how that revenue is generated. I'm giving you the kindergarten version of that because it could be a multitude of things. It could be a multi-agency thing that they do or whatever, but it carries on from year to year to year to year. And it is not a budgeted item. It is a
Revenue.
what is it called?
Well, it's a revenue.
It's a revenue, but it's called
revenue.
But you don't see it as a budget item because it's just money that comes into the city, and it's never budgeted because you never know how much it's going to be, so you can't budget. So we've got one car that just scrubbed this morning that we now can't get, and then these Durangos, everybody's giving them back because they break so often. So what I'm asking you for is to allow the police department to have not more than $60,000 to buy a replacement police car, of which we're not going to have to go into any revenue other than the insurance, which are going to be giving us, the auction, which we've already got, and the pool. It's called police services. The money is being held in pooled cash.
Okay, so it's in police services pooled cash.
Yeah, there's no like an account for them. They just put it in the pooled cash account.
Okay. And how much is that?
Oh, it's a lot of money. Thousands and thousands of dollars in pooled cash.
No. How much is in the police services?
Suzanne's just arrived.
Yeah, she's verifying it.
But she literally just walked through the door
Because it
dropped the
flips year to
children off.
year. We think 90,000. That's what we think.
But we're not sure until she actually pulls that report.
But that being said, we're out of a car, and
So, Chief, you were saying you were doing the I need to stop doing that. You were doing the information on you were doing the research on the quotes and one of the cars.
Yes. So my staff started the Friday before last, and we started seeing that there were a few vehicles out there. The vehicle that we originally thought over in Crestview, where Tony Summerlin purchased the pickup trucks from, They had a silver one over there, and they had quoted us approximately $51,000 for that vehicle outfitted. They don't know what the delay for an outfitted car is, but they originally quoted us just over $41,000 for the police car stock as it was, and then we would get it and we would have Mr. Weber do the install after we ordered the pieces and parts. The difference is that the vehicle that we currently have that's going to be totaled, from what I understand, some of those parts won't fit in the new one because the new cars are actually a little bit shorter. They're not as tall on the inside. So the partitions, which is one of the most expensive things, we may not be able to use, or most likely from what I'm being told by the manufacturer, we won't be able to use in the new vehicle. But the center console, things like that, we would be able to use, and the computer stand and things. But when we checked on it, that vehicle has already been sold. So this fellow by the name of Joe, he's down in DeSoto County at Arcadia. We purchased a hybrid vehicle from him last year. So we reached out to him, and he sent an email on Thursday to approximately 130 dealerships that deal in law enforcement vehicles and fleet vehicles. In the computer system, there's a lot of vehicles that are showing inventory for like 180 plus days. So he is trying to reach out to those dealerships to find out, are those vehicles being held for other law enforcement officer agencies, because they're just now delivering some of the older vehicles due to the pandemic and the chip shortage. So we don't have an answer. However, he did say from a dealership in Atlanta, but they have not released the price yet. There is a black one and there is a charcoal gray, metallic gray car, and but they don't know what the cost of those vehicles are. So we've been, hounding them since Friday to give us, a quote, but they haven't released the invoice on it to him from Atlanta so that they could, produce it to us. So that is our best hope right now, unless one of the agencies that ordered a car many years ago said that they're not going to buy it, or they can't buy it, or whatever reason, and then that would then allow us to possibly put a bid on it.
So the only ones that you found that were available, you got quotes on, that one car is gone.
Yes, ma'am. That
And-
Ford Explorer is gone.
Okay.
So then they do have Durangos in stock, but Durangos are known, just like the Dodge Chargers, for the front suspensions. They just don't work out for police vehicles.
Okay.
And so Panama City's currently is in the process of getting rid of a lot of their Chargers, because once the OEM front suspension ball joints go bad, they have to do some heavy duty aftermarket front end on them, and they're cycling out their Dodge Chargers
So do we
now
feel like
because of that.
the quote that you got from Crestview, which the sold one, we're looking at under 60,000 is what you're
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
Okay.
The prices have somewhat stabilized, because when we bought the cars last year, the market was just was crazy. I can't say it's not going to change, but right now, it seems to have kind of stabilized a little bit. So when we looked at the Chevy truck, they don't have those in stock right now from Unadilla, Georgia, which is Brandon Ford, and that's where we purchased the Chevy pickup truck from. And it was a 5.3 V8, four-wheel drive, police packaged vehicle. Chevrolet made 600 of them, and they've been sold. And when we got the quote from Brandon Ford, they're expecting another shipment in about February. So they should have some more Explorers and those particular pickup truck in February, and the price has only gone up $1,000, so they're like $4,900.
49,000?
Yeah, 49,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 49,000. So
We'll take 10.
So when I say based on what we're looking at, will the price change in February? I don't know. It may. So we'll see. You know, I've also looked on, you know, slightly used cars, but you know, when we do a slightly used car, we're going to be running into the same problems.
Yeah.
How was it maintained for those miles that we had before? We got extremely lucky with gov deals when we bought those two after the storm. And, you know, it's always a risk when you buy a vehicle like that.
Can we check and see if Suzanne has those numbers yet? And I mean, I see the need, especially since we've got the new police officers, and you know, if you can come in under budget on the if you can buy in at, what'd you say, 40, like 41 or 45.
No, that's just
That's
the car.
just-
Right, just the car, but then
And then
you
about
have to
another
get the
10 for the
add-ons
guts.
for another
Yeah.
10.
Right.
Then you're under the 60 that you're
Absolutely.
requesting, and
Absolutely.
I don't see a problem
So-
with it.
And
I
so
mean,
let's say he did come in at 51. He's got 33 in his hand today without taking anything out of the reserve.
right.
So, I mean,
I mean, the whole point of having the reserve is stuff like this, right?
Exactly.
The car got totaled.
So in
We're not getting-
2006 is when we started this. And, you know, every time we arrest individuals, a portion of, you know, if the court assesses it, you know, we get, and it's nickel and dime as it comes to us. Sometimes it's $2, you know, but when you arrest a lot of people, eventually it starts to build up.
I would like to say also, counsel, that we're going to do something this time that we've never done before, not that I'm aware of. I've already spoke to Mr. Sloan, and irregardless of what we do today, I intend to take the gentleman that caused this accident to
That's
court.
my next question. Can
We're going
we
to take
go
him to
after this
court,
person
and I'm
for
going to
this?
go after him for damages, because it wasn't just us. And I would encourage Mr. Sloan to reach out to the other people's attorneys also, because this individual, I want my money back for the amount of damage that he caused the city of Parker.
I mean, we're probably not going to get it, but I think that's the correct.
We can lean his tax return forever. It's the Bureau of Financial Responsibility. We'd love to get his money from him. So, and
I agree. If you're gonna
hang on a sec.
cause shenanigans, then you need to.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Thank you. Pat Posick, 1344
Yes,
Stratford.
ma'am.
I agree wholeheartedly, but I have a question, and I'm curious to see what Suzanne comes up with the police forfeiture fund. I looked at the budget last night to figure out, because we were talking about what are we going to have to take away from in order to buy the police car. I don't know that we have to take away from anything, and I don't know exactly how this works from a big perspective other than talking about the pooled cash. But last year, fiscal year ending 23, the police department had a surplus of $102,000.
That was salaries, unspent
Well, it was
salaries.
salaries. There was
Yeah.
also, there was another big item in here. There was $13,000 for fuel and lubricants that was not spent. So there was $102,000 left over just of police department expenditures that didn't go.
Right.
That money is part of that 1.7 million that we had excess for the 23 fiscal year. Plus we've got the pooled cash that we were all talking about a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So I don't see a problem. I guess my question is, do we have to take something away from another department like Public Works in order to do this?
No, did you
Because
give her a
that's what
copy
we
of
were
this?
talking about last
I was
Tuesday.
gonna just put it up after council discussed
Okay,
it.
okay, okay,
This
okay,
was
okay, okay.
previously
So just the police
mentioned.
services funds has $84,859.47. So that fund,
Alone would pay.
yes. So we wouldn't even, and the amount we would need to pull for that is 27,000 to
Correct.
make the 60. So
Correct.
we're only using 27 out of the 84. That leaves us
About 50 grand.
57,000.
Correct.
Yes, 57,000.
And we don't have to touch any of the other money at all.
And none of the other money in the budget is going to be touched. This is coming directly from the police budget.
It's called services,
Police
police services
services.
account.
Okay, thank you. Because again, at the meeting Tuesday night, we were talking about what are we gonna cut? but I'm glad to see that we don't have to cut anything.
Nothing.
And we get a new police
And
car.
see, next year we won't have that windfall because we've hired the police officers. We got the cars in service, so they're gonna start burning oil and gasoline at a higher rate than we did before. But it's the price you pay for law enforcement. So
Yes, and again, they had that excess, so I thought that
They
was
were very lucky.
critical.
yeah, we
Thank
were
you.
lucky. Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we allow, the money from the insurance, the, auction fund and the police services to a tune of $60,000 to buy a new police car and the equipment that goes with it.
And the leftover, or what we're getting out of the insurance money for the.
Is that what I said? Insurance auction.
Insurance, auction, and police services. And
I
we
make that
can't
motion.
project, we cannot project how much we'll get from the court. It might be 3 or 4 years before it ever gets on the docket. It might not be nothing. But anyway, we got a first
I second.
and a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Miss Barrow,
Yes.
Miss Gibson,
Yes.
Mayor Kelly.
Yes. Does anybody have anything in the audience that they'd like to discuss before I close today?
When's Santa Claus coming?
What'd you say?
When is Santa Claus coming?
We
Oh,
heard.
I wish I could tell you, ma'am. I've heard from the wing commander that they think that he could potentially be landing in Parker the morning of the 23rd.
Can I ask something very quickly? I just want to have an understanding that going forward, the materials will be presented to you before they're put up on the website. Am I understanding that correctly?
What do other cities do?
I didn't ask.
Most other cities don't normally put the whole packet up.
Right, they
They
just put
just
up the meat
don't.
of it, right?
And we've done that because it was requested, and I mean, I requested it back in the day when there was another administration, and that fell to deaf ears, but, you know, I think we should at least get the
look first.
opportunity to look at it first to make sure that there aren't any issues, and then maybe release it the morning of
The meeting?
the meeting.
Okay.
Can I make a request?
Sure, go ahead.
Because the morning of may not give us an opportunity
To read it all.
I mean, if she provides it to you guys on Friday,
But again,
other cities do, April, check out Cape, Callaway, check out Panama City. I mean, they have hundreds of pages. I just looked at a state issue that's got 229 pages of a packet.
So could we do it this way? Can I give you a packet at the meeting for future possible agenda items that you review?
I
And
say
then
you get it
you-
out to us when you get a packet worked up.
Can't you put it on the internet after you get it out to us?
I mean, that's.
Give it to us on a Wednesday, give it to get the council on the citizens on Thursday, or whatever.
Are we good with that? Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Do whatever you ask.
But there'll be no
Defer
changes to the
council.
agenda once that's happened. So if the meeting's on the following Tuesday, we put it out a week in
Well,
advance.
I think what it needs to do is the agenda, whatever's gonna be put on the agenda needs to go to the mayor, and the mayor needs to approve it. If that's what.
Well, that's what we're
only.
supposed to do, yes.
And then,
Out to the council, then out to the
yeah,
citizens.
we can, as long as I get something, usually I don't never see it till after it's sitting there and it's on all them other
Everybody's got it before we have it.
Facebook crap
That's
everywhere, and
why-
that's where I see it at. I don't
And that's
even
why I was
see it.
thinking if I make you a packet for future potential agenda items, and I give it to you at a current meeting, then you can review it and you'll have it at least a meeting prior
A meeting
to
prior.
review.
And then release it to.
Right, and then we
Release it
do what we've
online.
always done. And the citizens get it the way they've always gotten it. It's just a way to get it to you much sooner.
Before, and then we
Yeah.
can say, no, we're not
that
gonna do
okay?
this, or, I think that's.
Whatever we can do to expedite the process so everybody gets their need and requirements met.
You know, Tanya and Mr. Chapel need a little bit longer, so I think that's a.
Yeah. I'll
So you'll
just-
give it
well,
to me to
this way I'm
review?
giving it to everybody at the same time. I'll just hand you a packet at the council
You give it to me to
meeting.
review, you give it to the council, give it to the people, we're good to go.
And then you let me know, yeah, this is
But no
good,
changes
this is
after
that.
it's in play. Because your 7 days would have gone by already, you see? You can't have a budget, I'm sorry, you can't have an agenda, and if you don't like it, change it.
No, it wouldn't be an agenda. It would just be the possible future materials.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
it wouldn't be an agenda.
It would need.
So when we get to the agenda, how are we gonna do it? Same way we do it now.
Same way we do it.
Well, I would think if you review it, then you say, yes, put this on the next meeting, or however.
or I want this added,
Right.
or I want this.
Right.
we need to
Deleted.
talk about
And
this
then the
another day.
council is driving it, so, yeah.
I feel like I haven't. I mean, we don't really see what's on the agenda
Until right
Until
then.
you receive it.
until it comes out.
Yeah,
Until it comes on email. So I agree that there should be input because
Okay.
there have been things in the past that I've wanted on agendas that haven't made it. So
Okay. You'll
that
have
works.
to, any questions, you'll have to give it to the clerk. Don't call me or talk to me about it, cause it would be a violation of state
Still
statute.
needs to go to, before the mayor, once the clerk gets done with it, go to the mayor for the mayor to look it over before anything's done.
That's what Sloan said.
That's the way
okay,
it,
so
it
he
should
looks
be
at it
done.
first, and then I'll make the pack.
Correct.
When they
Got it.
approve it, and then if the council member's got a problem with it, then they talk to you about it.
Okay,
You'll be.
And say, I need if you have any changes, please have it done by tomorrow morning or whatever.
okay,
Right.
2
that
days.
sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Excellent. Chief, you got a minute? Let's go sit. You turn off the electricity if you